Well, DC Metropolitan Police Chief Pamela Smith is going viral for all the wrong reasons. Now, she previously served as the department's first chief equity officer, where she led the department's efforts on DEI. And now she's going viral because it appears that she didn't understand the question from the media about the department's chain of command.
What the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, speaking to you, or how does this work?
So the executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services, and our home rule charter outlines the process. The president designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services through me.
Well, CJ, that is so awkward.
It's not awkward. It's just embarrassing, right? You know, folks like this DC police chief prove that DEI doesn't just mean diversity, equity, and inclusion, but it also means did not earn it. And so I think it's actually crazy that we continue to see people like this in positions of power, but it's unsurprising when you see the results of what we're seeing all across Washington. When we see, again, young people running amok, committing acts of violence, and of course, seeing no recourse, being subject to things like yoga classes to help, get them back on the right track. It's absolutely insane, but thankfully, the adults are back in charge in Donald Trump's Washington. We're going to see Pam Bondi right this problem. We're going to see Kash Patel right this problem. But most importantly, we're going to see President Trump make our shining city on a hill, the shining city on the hill, the brightest that it could ever be.
Now, First Lady Melania Trump is set to put Hunter Biden on a $1 billion notice over comments that he made during an interview on Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. Now, Melania Trump claims that the son of the former US President Joe Biden made false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements about her, and she's demanded that the content be removed immediately, and it's also called for him to issue an apology or face legal action. Wow, I was not expecting a legal fight between Melania Trump and Hunter Biden in 2025. What did you make of this?
Melania Trump does not play around, and God bless her for it. I think, Hunter Biden, if he keeps this up, he continues to spread lies about this first lady, he's going to have to make some more of those $300 million paintings. But I have a feeling that they probably won't sell for as much now that Joe Biden is not in office. But here's the deal. I think, again, conservatives need to fight back. When the lamestream media continues to lie about us, when liberal folks like Hunter Biden continue to lie about us, let them know that it's time to F around and find out. And I think that's what Melania Trump is doing exactly.
Now, a Democratic whistleblower told the FBI that Adam Schiff approved leaking classified information in order to discredit President Donald Trump, according to newly released documents. Now, the documents, which are obtained by Just the News, were recently handed over to Congress by FBI Director Kash Patel, and according to the report, the intelligence staffer called the leaking treasonous and illegal. CJ, what more can you tell us about this?
I think what we need to do is take a hard look at this. And I think the DOJ under this president will do exactly that. Under the previous administration, we saw a weaponization of justice unlike anything we have ever seen before. But as we continue to uncover, as Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and many other in the FBI continue to look for, is corruption unlike anything that the American people could ever imagine. And so I think that these people need to be held accountable. Investigations need to ensue. And I hope that, justice will be as fair, as aggressive as it was under the previous administration. And if it is, I think folks like Adam Schiff will be held to account, and rightfully so.
Now, there are reports that the Trump administration and Harvard University are close to reaching a settlement of $500 million. According to the New York Times, White House negotiators have made significant progress in their discussions with the university. Now, CJ, this, of course, comes after the Trump administration froze more than $2 billion in funding to Harvard and threatened to revoke its tax-exempt status due to Harvard and other universities' failure to address anti-Semitism.
I think, we say this thing in Gen Z, it's make their pockets hurt. I think this president has certainly learned how to do just that. And I think that's the only way these institutions are going to learn with their incredible billion-dollar endowment funds, right? And so I think there is no place for anti-Semitism in this country. There's no place for anti-Semitism on our college campuses. But also, too, let's go back to just a few years ago. These college campuses are not just breeding grounds for anti-Semitism, but they're breeding grounds for anti-Americanism, anti-Western civilization. And so I think it's long past these universities learn their lesson. And I love to see a president fighting so hard to bring that lesson out.
Finally, I've got to talk about Sydney Sweeney again. It's the story or the advertisement, I guess, that just keeps going. It never ends. But a new Economist YouGov poll found that up to 12% of Americans found Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad campaign offensive. You know, we have played some of the reactions and the insane reactions from lefties crying about it on TikTok. We played that here in our show a couple of weeks ago. But CJ, 12%. I mean, who are these people that find Sydney Sweeney, her hot, sexy ad, offensive? Surely we could all be celebrating that hotness is back.
Gabriella, all I have to say is I want you to imagine what this 12% of people look like. And I think we can go from there.
It's a fair point. CJ Pearson, it is great to speak with you. Thanks so much for joining us on Power Hour.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.